So, Frazier Clarke v Jeamie TKV is being targeted for the British heavyweight title. This fight is reportedly going to be taking place either late this year or early next year. Date hasn't been finalised at the time of recording this video. And honestly, I was a bit surprised by this. I think naturally a lot of us were expecting Jeamie TKV to get that David Adelaide rematch, but of course David Adelaide would go on to fight Filip Hrgović, who's a bigger money fight compared to Jeamie TKV for the British heavyweight title. Of course, David Adelaide lost to Filip Hrgović pretty handily, but that's by the by. Jeamie TKV will be fighting Frazier Clarke in a fight that I think, honestly, Frazier Clarke should win. I think Frazier Clarke is a far better boxer than Jeamie TKV, but Jeamie TKV did win me over as a fan, if I'm being honest, in that David Adelaide fight, where he was outboxing David Adelaide for large parts of that fight and really was winning that fight before he got knocked out. But I still think, Frazier Clarke, he's an Olympian. He's fought at, a very high level as an amateur and hasn't quite reached the heights I was expecting him to reach, if I'm being honest, yet. And after he got brutally knocked out by Fabio Wardley, probably won't ever reach that level. But that being said, I do think he's at least British heavyweight level. I think he's at least that level in my opinion. I think he should beat Jeamie TKV and go on to become the British heavyweight champion. And honestly, out of those other guys that are at British heavyweight level, I think Frazier Clarke probably is the best. If you're looking at David Adelaide, Jeamie TKV, Dave Allen, these sorts of names at British heavyweight level, Frazier Clarke for me is the best out of all of those guys. Of course, Frazier Clarke has already beaten Dave Allen, so take from that what you will. So I do think Frazier Clarke will win this, and I don't think he'd knock him out, even though it's heavyweight boxing, and Frazier Clarke definitely can pack a punch. I think largely he's probably going to outbox Jeamie TKV, put his hands together nicely. In terms of the athleticism, I see it being relatively even, because it's not like Frazier Clarke is particularly light on his feet. He isn't super bouncy. He isn't an amazing mover, which you wouldn't really expect from a heavyweight, because he's a big lad. But I guess in that way, Frazier Clarke will be there to be hit. Fabio Wardley found the big knockout punch on him. Perhaps Jeamie TKV could do that. Jeamie TKV's not a huge puncher like that. We saw him land, quite a bit on David Adelaide. Never really rocked him or had David Adelaide in real trouble, but was just handedly sort of outboxing him for the duration of that fight until he got knocked out by David Adelaide. So both guys, you could make an argument for their chins maybe not being fully intact, because both guys have been stopped quite badly before. But I do think Frazier Clarke's still got enough in the tank, and this is about Frazier Clarke's level, British heavyweight level, and he's definitely a good enough boxer to box at that level. And Jeamie TKV, in my opinion, is just about as well. Jeamie TKV's been beaten a number of times as well before, and he's lost to guys who, in my opinion, probably are a bit worse than Frazier Clarke. David Adelaide's a big puncher, but in terms of being a pure boxer, Frazier Clarke probably is the better boxer. But yeah, I'd be curious to know what you guys think of this fight. Do you think Jeamie TKV could, wouldn't be retaining? It's for a vacant British heavyweight title, but that being said, do you think Jeamie TKV could claim the British heavyweight title, or do you think Frazier Clarke will finally become the British heavyweight champion? Be curious to know what you guys think in the comments below. And yeah, another episode of the Seth Solo Side Quest in the bag, and I'm out. Peace.